Forget everything heard before about investing as some cold game of numbers or luck. The pain you feel when you watch your portfolio tank, the sleepless nights worrying if you made the wrong move, that gut-wrenching fear like a weight crushing your chest. This is not just market noise. It's real, raw, personal. It cuts deep because it shakes the core of who you are. Because investing is not just about money. It's about trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in your choices. Trust in a future that you can build without trembling under the ghost of regret. But how many times has that regret already sunk its claws into you? How many times have you wondered if every worst-case scenario you imagined would come true? The regret of missed opportunities, the torment over decisions made too fast or worse, the silence of doing nothing at all. This is the true enemy. Not the market, not the economy, not the news headlines. The real battlefield is inside, where fear and doubt wage war against boldness and clarity. It's a struggle that no one ever warns you about before you dive in. Because the whole world wants you to buy comfort and protect your peace with quick fixes, hollow strategies, or the latest hot tip. They want you to be paralyzed, safe, and compliant. But true investing is nothing like that. It is raw, it is ruthless, and if it shakes you, that means you are awake. The strongest investors are not the ones without worries or regrets. It's those who have stared them down, who have felt the bone-deep ache of loss, but have refused to let it define or destroy them. Regret is a poison, but it can also be a fuel. The crucial difference is learning to turn regret into insight, fear into action, chaos into your own order. Imagine for a moment what it would feel like to invest without regret. Not because everything always goes perfectly, because that's impossible, but because every move you make is informed, intentional, and aligned with a vision so clear, it cuts through noise like a laser. It's not tied to the false promise of being right every time. No one wins that game. Instead, it is a fierce confidence knowing you're playing your own longer game, one that is anchored not in bashful guesswork, but in rigorous, relentless self-mastery. It starts with shedding the chains of comfort and the illusions of certainty handed down by the experts and the status quo. The first brutal truth is that investing without regret means embracing uncertainty fully, and not as an obstacle, but as the very canvas of possibility. Most people try to pretend they can control the future. They seek guarantees, safety nets, a foolproof formula. This is a lie sold by the fearful to the fearful. Real power lies in becoming sovereign over your own mind, in owning your decisions regardless of outcome. This liberation starts with absolute honesty with yourself. Where do your fears come from? Is it the loss of capital? The judgment of peers? Or something deeper, like the fear of exposing your own fallibility? Identifying this is not weakness. It is the first act of strength and clarity. Only when these shadows are brought into the light can the paralysis of indecision begin to thaw. Next comes the radical act of unlearning. The world has conditioned investors to obey patterns, to be cautious, to avoid discomfort at nearly all costs. This is the quicksand of regret. Because in truth, every great move comes from stepping beyond what is comfortable, beyond what the masses preach. It means questioning everything, tearing down mental walls built from outdated beliefs. What if the advice that held you back actually held you captive? What if your idea of risk is narrower than it needs to be? What if the real risk is not taking a chance at all? By dismantling these illusions, you carve out space to think different, to craft strategies built not on what everyone believes will work, but on what you understand deeply, personally, and strategically. This rebellion against the comfortable path, this refusal to be yet another player in a rigged game, demands patience. The market doesn't owe you instant success, and lasting progress never comes from frantic, noisy actions. Eternity favors the long game, that slow burn where every decision, every connection, every lesson learned compounds quietly beneath the surface until one day your growth is undeniable, your insight unshakable. Patience here is not passive waiting. It's active, ruthless honing of your skills and instincts. It's selectively aligning with those rare few who see and strive as intensely as you do. Together, you amplify each other's resolve and create a network of power no fleeting trend or crash can dismantle. But investing without regret also demands a brutal kind of freedom. Freedom from the need to fit into neat boxes or follow the crowd. freedom to trust your own vision even when it flies in the face of consensus. This means rejecting the system's comforting myths of equality that rewards mediocrity, of rules that supposedly keep you safe. Those myths are the shackles that bury your fire under layers of convenience and conformity. To truly unleash, you must be willing to burn everything that limits you, titles, roles, expectations, and live a life that's unapologetically yours. This is not about arrogance. It's about sovereignty. Your will is your weapon, and every investment decision should be a deliberate act of self-expression and transformation. Here's the secret most never tell you. The greatest investors are often the most isolated. Not because they are better, but because the system has no place for radical misaligned brilliance. But isolation is a choice when you find the right links, the right connections, the few who don't just tolerate your intensity, but ignite it. This network, this autonomous web of rare minds and relentless hearts, is where true power builds. Because when brilliance aligns, it becomes a force beyond the sum of its parts, a synergy that transforms fear into ferocious hope, limitation into possibility. So how to start living this? First, own your fear and regret openly. Journal them, dissect them, don't hide or rationalize. Then, commit to being relentlessly critical. Question every piece of advice, every truth about the market or yourself, until only what resonates with your experience and your higher vision remains. Next, cultivate patience with a warrior's discipline. Treat every loss like a lesson sharper than any victory. Invest in meaningful relationships, not the shallow networking events or fortune-chasing circles, but deep electric connections with those who burn to rise as fiercely as you. Finally, embrace transformation as your perpetual state. Never settle, never stop evolving. The moment you think you've arrived is the moment regret will sneak back in. Investing without regret is not a myth. It is a revolution within. It demands facing the discomfort that most run from, the creeping doubt, the paralyzing fear, the haunting what-ifs. It calls for shedding the illusions fed by a world that profits from uniformity and safe bets. It asks for courage beyond the headlines, patience beyond instant results, and a fierce refusal to bend to pressures that don't serve your vision. It is never about being flawless or always right. It is about being fierce, true, and relentless in owning your path. The pain of regret is real, but so is the power to rewrite your story, starting now. You don't have to accept the lie that regret is inevitable, or that investing is a game for the lucky or the comfortable. There is a way to invest with fire in your gut and peace in your heart. A way to move boldly, to connect fiercely, and to build something no crash or setback can steal away. To rise above old systems and embrace your true freedom as an investor and as a human being. This is the challenge, the rebellion, the promise. The fire inside is waiting. Don't run from it. Fan it. Let it consume the fear and shape you into the investor who never looks back with regret, but looks forward with unwavering resolve. Because investing without regret is not just possible. It's the only way to truly own your power and your future.